Chapter 4 The Big Pig. The Supernaturalist stumbled back to the warehouse at 5 a.m. The panic button on Journey Avenue had been a false alarm. Some old guy had stuck his head into the microwave while it was still on, setting off his personal alarm. Many citizens carried personal alarms that could be activated in the event of danger or illness, summoning a protection or medical team. It was expensive, but private teams arrived on average 2 minutes ahead of the city police, and the 2 minutes could mean the difference between life and death. On the way back from Journey, the warehouse computer had notified them of a shootout outside a bank on the expensive end of Journey Avenue. The Supernaturalists camped up on a rooftop and took potshots at parasites that flocked to the scene. The sun was poking through the rainbow smog by the time they arrived home. Even Ditto was too tired for jokes. His small face was drawn, and his kid's trousers were splattered with the blood of those he tended to. They sat around the dining room table, chewing on processed dinners from flash food packs. Cosmo pulled the tab on his food pack and waited 10 seconds for the heat to spread through his rations. "I thought we did okay tonight," he said. "No one got hurt, and we blasted 100 of those creatures." Steven threw out his army-issued spoon. "And tomorrow night, there'll be 200 to take their place." Cosmo finished his food in silence, chewing slowly. "You know what I think?" Steven leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. His body language should have told Cosmo to shut up. "No, Cosmo. What do you think?" Mona shot Cosmo a warning look, but he forged on. "I think that if we could find out where they lived, then we could do some real damage." Stefan laughed sharply, rubbing his face with both hands. "For nearly 3 years I've been doing this, and I've never thought of that." Wow. You must be some kind of genius, Cosmo. Find out where they live. Amazing. Cosmo knew knees suddenly began to itch. I just thought. Steven stood abruptly, his chair sliding across the floor. He reined in his temper, but it was an effort. "I know what you thought, Cosmo. I thought about it too. Find the nest and take them all out at the same time. It's a perfectly good idea. Except for one thing. We can't find it." "Certainly. I'm not hungry," he finished. "I'm going to bed." The tall boy dragged his feet into his cubicle, pulling the curtain behind him. Ditto managed to chuckle. "Well done sucking up to the boss, new boy." Leave him alone, Ditto," said Mona, "or I'll make you stand in the corner." Ditto laughed, raising his tiny fist. "I know I'm a pacifist, Mona, but I'll make an exception for you." Cosmo pushed away his own food. I didn't mean to upset him." Mona scooped the unfinished meals into her own carton. "It's not your fault, Cosmo. This is Stefan's whole life. Awake in his sleep is what he lives for, and every night he has to face the fact that we're not making a dent." "I keep thinking there's something I don't know. Some other reason why we're doing this." Ditto opened the beer, draining half the bottle in one gulp. "We're helping people. Isn't that enough?" "We're helping people? No other reason?" Mona and Ditto shared a look. Cosmo caught it. "I get it. I'm not part of the group yet." Mona draped an arm over his shoulder. "You know what, Cosmo? You're too tense. You need to get out for the walk." Cosmo thought of Ziploc suddenly. "I haven't been out for a walk in 14 years. "No time like the present," said Mona, grabbing her jacket. "I can stay awake for a few more hours if you can. Vamos!" Cosmo followed her to the elevator. "Where are we going?" "Wait and see." "Ditto, you coming?" The tiny Bartoli baby settled back in his chair and flicked on the TV. "Am I coming? No thanks. I went for a walk with Mona once. I was lucky to make it back with all my fingers." Cosmo grinned weakly. "He's joking, right?" Mona pushed him to the elevator. "No, Cosmo," she said, closing the grill. "He's not joking. But hey, who needs 10 fingers?" Mona led Cosmo through the maze of supply pipes and abandoned assembly lines to the large loading bay on the ground floor. A hulking panel truck sat heavy on its suspension in the parking ramp. Mona slapped the fender, scattering a swarm of rust mites. Rust mites were a new breed of insect that had evolved in Satellite City. The TV brains said that they were nature's new superbug and would outlive even the cockroaches. The Beakmobile. This old heap has saved our hides more than once. Cosmo kicked one of the tires. We're not going to actually ride in this, are we? Mona popped the hood. Don't be fooled by the exterior. I prefer drab to stolen. But we're not riding today, Cosmo. The engine's manifold is short. We need a new one. Or at least one that's not too second-hand. I thought we were going for a walk. We are walking, grunted Mona, yanking the tubular manifold from its clips. No choice in the matter. I just need to do some business on the way. So what do you need me for? Asked Cosmo, although in truth he was more than happy to accompany Mona anywhere she wanted to go. After all, he was 14 years old, and Mona was the first girl he had ever spoken to unsupervised. Mona wrapped the manifold in a rag. Cosmo, I need you for backup. Bushka was Big Pig slang for car theft. And in this region, there were so many stolen automobiles in this region of West Side that the entire area was nicknamed after the pastime. Teenage Bushka pirates popped BMWs, Kroms, and Mercedes-Benzes right out of their racks in the uptown parking lots and refitted them for off-road racing. Every night, groups of youths gathered in abandoned warehouses for illegal drag races. Bushka, Mona's home turf. It took almost an hour for the pair to walk from Abracadabra Street down to Bushka, south along Journey, then passed across the river to the old police blockade. Once past the line of burnt-out cars, the pair were living on their wits. No police would respond to an alert from Bushka. Cosmo tried to make himself invisible. It was a trick he learned in the Clarissa Frame. Shoulders hunched, small steps, and don't make eye contact with anybody. On the other hand, Mona, for her part, did not subscribe to the invisibility theory. Down here, Cosmo, you gotta walk tall. If any of these vultures smell weakness, they'll mess you up faster than sugar in a gas tank. The vultures in question were groups of adolescents on their way home from a night's drag racing. They lounged on the sidewalk or bounced their automobiles along the street on enhanced suspensions. There was no satellite guidance down here. Everything was manual. Most of the vultures seemed to know Mona. Hey, Chiquita! Shouted one of the large group, a muscular youth with a bandana over one eye. When are you coming racing again, Mona? We miss you! Mona grinned. Hola, Miguel. Maybe I'll come race when you build something worth racing against. I could walk faster than that last piece of junk. Miguel moaned, placing one hand over his heart, as though he'd been shot. Oh, you got me, Vasquez. Oh, but someday I'll get you. Mona kept grinning, but also kept walking. In your dreams, Miguel. In your dreams. When they rounded the corner, Mona shuddered. Her bravado was all for show. Beneath it, the girl was worried. I thought they might ask me to come back. Miguel is a sweetheart. Cosmo blinked. You think so? Mona punched him on the shoulder. No, estupido. Not that kind of sweetheart. The sweethearts are the biggest gang in Bushka. I used to run with them. I was the mech girl, looking after the hot rods. If you check under those bandanas they wear, you'll find a tattoo just like mine. Mona pointed to the DNA strand over her eyebrow. That's a gang tattoo, isn't it? What does it mean? Mona leaned close so Cosmo could get a better look at the ink over her eye. It's a DNA strand made from car parts. You see the wheels and the pistons? It means that deep down, all sweethearts are the same. We live to race. They walked on for several blocks, past the rows of pig iron housing and barricade shops. Vendors were warming up their street burners, protecting their wares with large dogs or visible sidearms. Several other gang members called out to Mona, and not just sweethearts. They passed Celtic, Anglo, Slav, African, and Asian groups. Mona explained them to Cosmo as they went. Those are the Irish Eyes. They specialize in drug tracking from the docks across the bridge. She pointed to a pair of Africans in black suits. Those tall guys are the Zulus, bodyguards mostly. They all learn some kind of African martial arts. If one of those guys throws something sharp at you, it's all over. Cosmo tried to make himself even more invisible. And those men with the piercings are the bulldogs. They can strip a bike down in seconds. You turn away to tie your bootless, and when you turn back, your bike is just a skeleton. How did you get out of the sweethearts? Asked Cosmo. I thought gang membership was a for life kind of thing. Stefan saved me. 18 months ago, I was in a jet crash. A bad one. One of my lungs had collapsed, and I was bleeding to death. The parasites were settling in to suck me dry. And of course, my brother's sweethearts scattered as soon as I hit that pylon. Stefan was out on the night patrol and heard the explosion. He came right down here and blasted those monsters right off my chest. Dito inflated my lung, and it dropped me off at General. On the way, I was babbling about blue clitoris sucking my life away. So a week ago, Stefan showed up at the hospital and offered me a new life. I took it. There was nothing to stay around the bushka for. My parents are gone, and Stefan is 18, so he sponsors me. You can't believe how good it is to be a legal citizen. I don't have to spend my life waiting for the state police to toss me in some institution. And the sweethearts just let you go? Their best mechanic? Mother stopped at a stall and brought a couple of fresh rolls. They sat on upturned trash cans, eating the hot bread. It wasn't that easy. Miguel turned up at Abracadabra Street one night with a bunch of muscle. Then he turned on the spotlight. Stefan let them get into the loading bay and then turned on the spotlights. He told Miguel that the sweethearts had forfeited their right to my services when they left me to die. And the sweethearts left it at that? Said Cosmo skeptically. No, admitted Mona. Stefan offered them a Maishi Z12 prototype nitrous racer in return for my ticket out of the gang. Stefan brought you? Mona punched him on the shoulder again. No, Cosmo. He brought my freedom. That's why we're riding in the Pigmobile these days. And that's why we're down here looking for an ancient manifold. Mona finished her snack, throwing the wrapper in the street incinerator. Let's go. We have some negotiating to do. Cosmo followed Mona down a narrow alley that reeked of raw sewage and motor oil. Rats tussled over food scraps, and rust mites burrowed into exposed patches of girder on the pig iron walls. Mona pulled behind a lank oil-stained cloth. Behind it was a steel door with a security camera. Mona tapped on the safety screen. Hola, Jean-Pierre. Open up. Nothing for a moment, then a crackle of static. Mona Vasquez? You're still alive? Who's the kid? Cosmo's with me. I can vouch for him. The locking bars were remotely opened, and the door swung aside. Come on in, but don't touch anything. They stepped into a mechanic's dream. The very walls appeared to be constructed from car parts, everything from the latest plasma converters to ancient and combustion engine components. They passed a maze of auto parts walls and several cars in various stages of repair. A tall, slender man was buried to his waist in the engine of a chrome six-wheel drive. His fine blonde hair was tied back in a ponytail, and every exposed inch of his skin was blackened by oil and exhaust fumes. Hey, Jean-Pierre, what's happening? The man extricated himself from the vehicle engine, pulling off magnifier goggles. Vasquez, ça va? What's happening is that you're about to pay me the 100 dinars you owe me for that exhaust box. Mona laughed. Vaya un fieno, Jean-Pierre. Go to hell. That exhaust box was full of feeder. It blew up after 100 miles. What I should do is kick your French behind all over the shop. Jean-Pierre shrugged. Très bien. Okay. You cannot blame my man for trying. You owe me one, and I come to collect. Mona threw the manifold on a workbench. You get me one of these, we'll call it even. Even? You're kidding me, Mona. These are not easy to come by. 80 dinars, if I can find one. Mona folded her arms. 30 dinars, hombre. And you already know whether or not you have one. Jean-Pierre smiled broadly, his teeth bright against the oil. Mona, I have missed you. Okay, 30. but only because you'll make me laugh. Jean-Pierre disappeared between two metal-lined aisles. He's the only half-reliable partsman in Bushka, Mona told Cosmo. Whatever you need, Jean-Pierre can get it or make it. The gangs leave him alone because without him, their lives will fall apart. Jean-Pierre returned, twirling a replacement manifold like a baton. There was a parasite perched on his shoulder. Cosmo reared back, knocking over a tower of hubcaps. Mona, look! Can't you see it? The Frenchman frowned. Hey, mon ami! Watch the merchandise! What's the matter with you? Mona didn't bat an eyelid. Ignore him, Jean-Pierre. He's crazy. He swallowed too many fumes at the drag meets. Sometimes he sees things. Cosmo took his eyes off the creature, crouched there, waiting. Can we do something? Kill it? Mona picked up the hubcaps, glaring at him. Shut up, Cosmo. There's nothing there. Nothing. Get it? Cosmo tried to read her brown eyes. She saw the creature. He was certain of it. Nothing. I get it. Good. She returned to count out the dinar chips on the workbench. Outside the blockade, most people used credit cards, but in Bushka, cash was king. Here, 30 dinars. Jean-Pierre flipped the chips into a drawer. The fourth 30? Are you going soft on me, Vasquez? Mona took the manifold, resolutely ignoring the wide-eyed parasite on Jean-Pierre's shoulder. No, I just know a deal when I see it. She paused, eyes on the floor. How have you been feeling lately? Jean-Pierre started. Funny you should mention it. My chest feels tight, just for the past few weeks. It's probably nothing. I should go to a doctor in the city. But who trusts doctors, n'est-ce pas? Mona looked the Frenchman in the eyes. Get seen to Jean-Pierre. We'd all be lost without you. Certainement. The customer is always right. He pulled open a basket drawer on the wall. Here, a set of plugs on the house for my favorite customer. Mona pocketed the plugs, then kissed Jean-Pierre on the cheek. The parasite casually moved out of her way. Goodbye, Jean-Pierre, and thank you. The Frenchman rubbed his cheek. A kiss? From Mona Vasquez? You're not sick, are you? Mona glared malevolently at the parasite. No, Jean-Pierre, I'm not sick. Mona refused to say another word until she and Cosmo put 2 blocks between them and Jean-Pierre's workshop. Those monsters. Sometimes they know when a person is in harm's way. Why don't we do something? Do what? Blast the hole in the air in broad daylight? Jean-Pierre would have shot us himself. There's nothing we can do here. No more than we can go shooting up hospitals. Maybe Jean-Pierre will have a heart attack and the parasite will push him over the edge. Natural causes, you see. Or maybe the parasite will just siphon off a few years. That's the beauty of their race. No one ever knows. No crime, no foul, no suspect, no victim. You know, only a year ago, you would never see a parasite out during the day. But now, it's happening more and more. Cosmo studied the growing crowds on the street. It was harder to see the parasites in the daylight, but they were there, squatting on their target's shoulders or showering them from overhead. Mona saw him watching. That's right. They don't like the light much either, but they're here. They don't like water either. It won't kill them, but a good soaking can suck the energy right out of them. That's why every day, I pray for rain. Is that it then? Once a parasite selects you, it's all over? Not necessarily. You can be saved by paramedics, or beat the odds, or like us, not go out on patrol at night. Parasites don't generally show up until the incident occurs, but sometimes the smell of death is too strong to resist. They hurried through Bushka toward the blockade. Cosmo kept his head down, terrified to draw attention from the parasites, scared that his gaze would attract one of them and perched on his shoulder. Leaving so soon? Said a voice. Miguel and the sweethearts were hanging on the rail, 3 stories up. Gotta go, replied Mona. I got work to do. You should stick around, Chiquita. There's something big happening tonight. We're unveiling the Maishi C12. We're going to clean up. Really? Maybe she'll give it a miss. I hate the smog is bad later. Miguel laughed. What are you talking about, girl? The sweethearts don't care about no smoke. Tonight, we have business to take care of. Mona glanced upward. From the corner of one eye, half a dozen parasites had adhered to the wall above the sweethearts' heads, their round eyes staring almost fondly at their targets. Mona continued walking. Looks like we're gonna be busy tonight, too.